Good evening. I'm here as the presenter of Group 1. I'm going to present about the assignment we have given. Everyone, we pass here by presenting one question. We can proceed with the first one.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I'm here by the name Frank Nizeyimana. I'm going to present question number 1. Our question is, by providing practical examples, critically analyze characteristics of curriculum and demonstrate how learner-centered and flexible curriculum can contribute to achieving the overall goals and learning outcomes of an education program. So through these questions, we look about some practical examples that illustrate the curriculum, and we shall looking about the characteristics of good curriculum, and then after we shall see how those good curriculum can contribute to achieving the overall goals of an education program. Without delay, let us start by looking about what really curriculum is. So in short, curriculum is like a plan for teaching and learning. So actually, this curriculum guides teachers, learners, as well as school. So a good curriculum helps achieve the education goals. So you know that whenever you are started, so actually there are a goal that's behind. So when we are designing the curriculum, you have to set the goals. So towards how the learners will achieve or how the teachers will perform. So let us continue to see what is characteristics of curriculum. After understanding the meaning of curriculum, now we are going to see the characteristics of curriculum. What will show you that it is curriculum or not. So a curriculum, it is first of all characterized by clear learning goals. So every curriculum must show clear learning goals, organized content and activities. Another characteristics of curriculum is very flexible and adaptable. The next one is relevant to learners' needs. And the last one, it is a continuous assessment and improvement. This is the characteristics of a curriculum. Now we are going to see each characteristic, how clear learning is characteristic of a curriculum. So let us start for the first characteristic, which is clear learning goals. So this characteristic, we are going to see how it is very important for the learners and for the teachers. So actually, when there is a clear learning goals, so we help the learners to know what they should achieve. This clear learning goals will help learners to know what they should achieve. And for the teachers, so this clear learning goals will help the teachers to plan lessons effectively when preparing the lesson that he or she going to teach. So for example, a science curriculum explains skills learners should gain in experiments. So when they are designing a career course, so we show or we explain the skills learners should gain in experiments. The next characteristic is flexibility in curriculum. So when we are talking the flexibility in curriculum is just to show how curriculum can change according to learners' abilities and interests. You know that the learners don't have the same capacity of receiving or remembering or recognizing things in the same way. So you have to change the curriculum, so depending on the learner's abilities. The next, teachers can use different teaching methods. So teachers can apply different methods so that to maintain this characteristic of flexibility. So, for example, using group work, discussions, or digital learning. So, this is the methods that can be used depending on the learner's activities. Maybe there are learners that study well if they are in groups. So, if you are looking at the learners will study well when they are working in the groups, as a teacher, you have to set a clear method of using a group discussion or group work. And there are students that like to study when they are using digital materials. So if after analyzing that your students really study well when they are using digital materials, so you have to use them. The next is learner-centered curriculum. This is the standard characteristic of curriculum. It is based on the learner-centered. It seeks for the learner's needs. Here, focus on the learner's needs, as you are seeing here. Not only needs, but also interest and participation. This, if you are talking about the learner-centered, it is just to explain how it encourages active learning and learners solve problems and think critically. For example, students doing projects instead of only listening to lectures. So when you are engaged in doing different projects, so it will help you to improve the active participation, so improving the critical thinking without listening to lectures only. So the next, we are going to see different examples that illustrate that the sound curriculum. So in language class, learners practice speaking through role play. Teacher act as a guide. For example, in a language class, the teacher can provide the activity for just to speak. They can be given a chance to speak different things that they want. There, the teacher will act as a guide to see how they are speaking. And then the learners, they have to work together in the groups. So this one will result for having better communication and confidence. When you are speaking with your fellow students, so you can gain the confidence and the better communication. Now, let us see how the curriculum contributes to education goals. So, for example, we have seen that we are having different characteristics of curriculum. So now we have to see how it contributes to education goals. First of all, the learner-centered and flexible curriculum helps learner participation, develop creativity and critical thinking, support different learning styles, and prepare learners for real-life situations. So, through these functions or roles, so this is the learning outcomes that will be achieved. So after designing a good curriculum, so it will end up having a better academic performance. So also the students will improve the skills and knowledge of solving different problems. Also, the curriculum, so we participate to increase teamwork and communication, as well as the independent and confident learners. So even if the curriculum is very important for the student as well as for the teacher teacher and schools, but there are still some challenges that affect the curriculum, or when we are planning the teaching and learning. There are still some challenges. So among of them are lack of teaching resources. So you can plan to teach by using materials like computer, when you are setting the teaching and learning, you can set the field trip, but because of few resources, so it can be challenged and it can inhibit some prepared or planned activities. Not only lack of teaching resources, but also large classes. So nowadays you are facing with the problems of having many children that fulfill the classroom. So imagine you are having the class, and then in the one class you can find that there are about 300 students in one class. So this also become a challenge for teacher as well as the learners in general. So not only large class, but also limited teaching trainings and time constraints. Those are the challenges. So what we are recommending to students, to readers, to curriculum designers is to train teacher regularly and use modern teaching methods, and then providing enough learning materials, encourage learner participation. Those are the recommendations that we recommend to each and everyone in the education programs. So to conclude, the good curriculum should be flexible, learner-centered, and then helps learner achieve knowledge, skills, and values. In addition, good curriculum should support the overall goals of education. Thank you so much for your good attention. See you.
Good evening, guys.
Good evening.
I'm Zaika your group member. I'm going to present about the question 2. That saying about how the element of curriculum means aims, goals, objectives, content, learning experience, and assessment work together to create meaningful teaching and measurable learning. So, the curriculum ecosystem means for the first presenter, we saw what is the meaning of curriculum, the plan for teaching and learning. So, the curriculum is a strategic plan, not a checklist. When aims, objectives, content, experiment, and assessment are integrated, becomes coherent and powerful. Misalignment weakens learning like reading with fault foundation. Means the curriculum is the foundation for teaching and learning. Aims and goals. Aims and goals. We have a campus here. I use this image to relate the image of the campus with aims and goals. To define aims and goals is the one to define the North Star of the campus. Okay? Aims are broad, philosophical intentions describing the purpose of education. Goals convert aims into programs, into program level outcomes. What the graduate should be able to do means what the graduate from senior 1 should be able to do after teaching and learning sessions is what we call the aim, okay? And then clear aim orients everything else, preventing aimless instruction. And then we have what we call objective, the precision target. Precision target. Objective translate goals into observable, measurable learning action. When writing objectives, who will do, what will be done, under what condition, toward standard, guide content selection, instruction, design, and fair assessment. So, objective must be specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, means time bound, means in general, objective have to be smart, okay? And then the content. The content is what of teaching, means what to be taught. Content includes knowledge, skills, and attitudes selected from culture and discipline. Effective content is significant, learnable, and sequenced for the progress. And coherent across the subject. Means have to be balanced, sequence, and then integration. Alignment, key to effectiveness. Key to effectiveness means the smartness of the curriculum have to achieve this. Key to effectiveness. When aims, objectives, content, experiment, and assessment mesh like G. You see, this is the image of G. Okay? Learning advances efficiently. Alignment ensure every lesson contributes directly to intended outcome and prevent waste time. Okay? That is why you have to understand about the curriculum before you start to teach. And then, learning experience means how of teaching, how you are going to deliver your lesson. Learning experience translates content into achieve engagement across active engagement across three domains. The three domains we are talking about is cognitive, effective, and psychomotor. And then we have here aims. We have writing objectives. We have design assessment, and then we have the result. This is what a smart curriculum must have. Smart curriculum must have the aims, objectives, and assessment. Assessment is the one to give us the result. Okay? The alignment cycle closes the loop. Clear aims inform objectives. Objectives determine learning experience. And assessment, and then assessment is the one to give us the feedback. Assessment closing the loop means assessment is the one, is the final, is the one to give us the result. Assessment comes after learning, even if we have the formal assessment that comes during the session. We have final payoff, learning that lasts. Means when all elements align, curriculum will become an engine for student growth, providing clarity for teachers and transparent path for learners. Continuous evolution means the feedback loop keeps the curriculum responsive and focused on mastery. Teacher as architecture means I have the image of house and engineers here. I was referring this house and there's engineers as teacher is the architecture, means the one to build this house. Is the one to design coherent and sequence and just based on evidence. And then we have the student, you, the student. You are the one to navigate. C, clear goals, engage in purposeful practice. What do you want? What do you want to get from the sessions? And then we have the system. Education system. System is the one to support, like the authorities there, LAB, Minedik, are the systems to provide resources, assessment data, and professional learning. You understand? So, we saw that the clear and effective curriculum have to be smart, means specific, measurable, time-bound, and what achievable. So this is what you have to note and to keep for the future reference as a teacher to be student from the University of Rwanda. Thank you for your attention. I'm your teacher of today, Zai Fidel, of course, and your colleague. Thank you so much.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Okay, my name is Yonadia Binot. I'm going to present the question number 3, which is by providing relevant examples, demonstrate how a teacher can design and implement a reason that integrates formal, informal, and heightened curriculum while analyzing their difference, evaluating their impact on student learning and behavior. So, by the end of this question, everyone will be able to know how can teacher prepare a reason by using those 3 types of curriculum, including heightened curriculum, informal curriculum, and formal curriculum. And also, everyone must be able to know the difference between those 3 types of curriculum. As introduction, a teacher can design and implement a lesson by combining formal curriculum, informal curriculum, and heightened curriculum so that a student gain knowledge, develop skills, and build positive value and behavior. Here, there is difference between the formal, informal, and heightened curriculum. You see, we have type of curriculum, meaning, and example. A formal curriculum is the official subjects, syllabus, and planned learning objective taught in class. For example, teaching mathematics, science, or grammar using textbook and lesson plan. The second one is informal curriculum. Informal curriculum learning that occur through extracurricular activity, discussion, and social interaction. For example, group discussion, debate, club, game, and storytelling. The third is hidden curriculum. The hidden curriculum is enlightened lesson, value, attitude, and behavior students learn from the school and environment. For example, learning punctuality. This is the hidden curriculum, example of hidden curriculum. Respect, cooperation, honest, discipline from teacher and school group. So here we are going to see how can teacher integrate a lesson by using this type of curriculum. For example, imagine a teacher teaching a lesson on environmental conservation in secondary school. So, the formal curriculum integration, a teacher follow official syllabus by teaching cause of environmental pollution, effect of deforestation, and way of protecting the environment. In this formal curriculum, teacher may use textbook, may use notice, may use diagram, question and answers. So this is a second example that can be used in informal curriculum integration. A student learns scientifically how cutting tree affects rainfall and climate. So the teacher can organize the group discussion, tree planting activity, and environmental debate, community cleaning, and campaign. A student work in a group to clean a school compound and discuss how waste management improve health through those activities. Learner develop communication skills, teamwork, leadership, problem solving ability. Hidden curriculum integration. During the lesson, teacher model respect for nature, punctuality, cooperation, and responsibility. Here we are going to analyze their difference. Their difference of six curriculum. Different mainly in purpose, the method of learning. Yeah, good. The formal curriculum method is planned and assessed through exam and assignments. But the informal curriculum is less structured, focused on experience and interaction. So the hidden curriculum is not officially lighten but influence students through their school culture and teacher behavior. For example, formal curriculum teach environmental fact. Informal curriculum develop practical environmental skills. Hidden curriculum shape responsible environmental attitudes. Here we are going to evaluate the impact of those integration of civic curriculum in planning lesson on the student. The positive impact of formal curriculum. It improves academic knowledge and it helps the student to pass examination, and also it builds intellectual understanding. For example, a student can explain the cause of pollution in exams. Here there is the positive impact of informal curriculum on learners. It encourages active participation, and then it builds confidence and teamwork between the learners, and also it connects learning to real life situation. For example, a student becomes confident speaker during environmental debate. So here there is a positive impact of hygiene curriculum on a student. It shapes character and behavior, and then it promotes discipline and moral values. The third one, it influences attitude positively. For example, a student develops habits of cleanliness and responsibility. The conclusion: an effective teacher should integrate formal, informal, and hidden curriculum because they implement one another. The informal curriculum provides academic knowledge, and informal curriculum develop pedagogical and social skills, and then hidden curriculum shape value and behavior. When combined properly, they promote holistic learning and help the student to become knowledgeable, skilled, disciplined, and responsible member of society. Okay, thank you for your attention. If there is any problem, you can ask.
Good evening. My name is Jean-Claude Hakarimara. My registration number is 2230-26-921. Today's session is, my question is in number 4. Using practical examples, explain dialectical and functional relationship between different curriculum documents, showing how each level from national curriculum frameworks to classroom lessons plan works together to support effective teaching and learning. After this session, everyone should be able to list and to know and to explain those documents from national curriculum frameworks up to in the classroom to the lowest level. Yes? First of all, let us start with national curriculum framework. When we say national curriculum frameworks, that is a global. That is how to give direction. That is a setup about the values, the visions in education in general. Means that is national curriculum framework is in general. Is set up to the Minister of Education. Means that is a global. Yes. As here I said that is a global. That is a global. It promote values, skills, and competencies while the preparation of lower curriculum documents. That is in general. One is the national curriculum framework. Okay, practical example. For example, In national curriculum framework, promote competence-based learning. Here, it encourages critical thinking, problem solving. This framework guides all schools and teachers across the country. Means that is in the globe, that's in the general, that is national curriculum framework in general, based on competence learning, critical thinking, communication, and so on. Let us go on the second one, is the subject syllabus. The one is national curriculum framework, the second one is the subject syllabus. The subject syllabus developed from national curriculum framework. Means that the one is the national curriculum framework, then the second one is below to the first one. That is what we call subject syllabus. Means that subject syllabus come from national. Means that the national is big, but about the subject is small. That is the second one. It focuses on a specific subject. It focuses on subject, for example, mathematics, for example, biology, for example, social studies, for example, English. Means that for the second one, it focuses on a specific subject. Function of subject syllabus is to show topics that include in that subject, teaching methods, assessments, organize the content according to the level of terms. That is the function of subject syllabus. It focuses on subject, but the function is to show the topics, to organize or to suggest teaching methods. That is the function. Practical example. For example, in English syllabus for senior 1, it includes topics such as grammar, such as comprehension, such as speaking, writing, and debate, and so on. That is a practical example by taking a subject of English syllabus. The relation with the framework, the syllabus translates national goals into subject-specific learning experience. For example, in the curriculum framework, promote communication skills. The English syllabus includes debate, discussion, and presentation. The third one is scheme of work. Scheme of work is prepared by teachers from the syllabus. It breaks the syllabus into smaller units to be covered within a term or semester. You know that the first one is the national curriculum framework. The second one is the subject syllabus. The third one is the scheme of work. Means that when the teachers prepare scheme of work, they can refer to the syllabus, because the syllabus it focuses on subject. Somehow it breaks the topics, for example, the teaching methodology and assessment, like that. But scheme of work is prepared by the teacher by referring to the syllabus. Function is to organize the content week by week. When we are going to prepare scheme of work, they organize the content week by week by allocating time for each topic. Then list the teaching materials and methods. Let the teacher plan classroom activities. Practical example: in mathematics, teachers may prepare scheme of work showing week 1. For example, week 1. That is the fraction. Week 2, decimal. Week 3, percentage, and so on, by allocating the time, by allocating and others. Means that scheme of work is prepared by the teacher. Then, relationship with the syllabus. The scheme of work is directly based on the syllabus. It turns broad syllabus topics into manageable teaching unit for a specific period. It means that the scheme of work can specify the period, teaching of unity specified. The last one is the lesson plan. Lesson plan is the most details curriculum document. It is prepared by the teacher for a single lesson. Means that for the scheme of work, that is developed for a week by a week. But in a lesson plan, teacher prepared in single lesson. Function of lesson plan states lesson objective. That is how to say lesson objective. Describe teaching and learning activities. List teaching materials. Explain assessment methods. Then guide classroom interaction. Practical example. In some lesson plan for the photosynthesis may include introduction through questions, group discussion plan food production, drawing diagrams of leaves, short quiz at the end of the lesson. Relationship with the scheme of work. The lesson plan comes from the scheme of work. It is if the scheme of work states that the students will be taught in 4 weeks, the teacher prepared the lesson plan from that topic. Then how curriculum documents work together. The curriculum documents are connected. Curriculum documents are connected. Means that when some document is not available in that list or in that preparation, then education or somehow failed, because one by one is connected to each other. One is the national curriculum framework. The second is the subject syllabus. Another is the scheme of work. The last one is the lesson plan. Those documents are connected. Means that from the above, the global one, up to the lower one. Each level depends on the higher level for guidance. Means that when you have national curriculum, guide you to prepare subject syllabus. When you reach to subject syllabus, guide you to prepare scheme of work. When you have a scheme of work, guide you to prepare lesson plans. The reason why are connected. So, let us go to the conclusion. Curriculum documents have both a record and a functional relationship. Each document depends on the other, as I said. Then together they ensure effective teaching and meaningful learning in the school, because those documents are connected. Thank you very much. We will see for the next session.
I'm going to present the question 5, which for discuss with the help of live example the philosophical, historical, sociological, and psychological foundation of curriculum, on how they influence curriculum development and in what way do they shape its aim, content, learning experience, and the assessment method. Let us start on philosophical foundation. Philosophy of education provides guiding principles about what knowledge is valuable and why we educate. S is to develop a moral, character, critical thinking, and social justice. Content is subject like civic education, STEAM, or depending on the philosophy, realism, and the pragmatism. Learning experience is the inquiry-based learning, while assessment is exam for factual knowledge versus project for problem solving. Second is the historical foundation. Historical
priorities. Example, colonial education in Africa focus on producing and interpret, while post-independent curricula emphasize national identity and the self-reliance. Aims of historical foundation is to preserve cultural heritage of preparation for modern industry, while content is history, language, and the others. Learning experience is storytelling, television versus modern scientific inquiry. Assessment is oral exam in traditional setting versus written standardization test. Third is the social foundation. Sociology of education considers society need, value, and the inequalities. Aims of social foundation is the social cohesion, equity, and preparing students for social norms. Content is gender studies, multicultural education, and vocation training. Learning experience is group project, community services, and the cooperative learning. Assessment is the continuous assessment to capture diverse ability, not just standardization tests. Fourth, physiology of learning focus on how students learn and develop. Aims of psychological foundation is first intellectual, emotional, and social growth. Content is developmentally appropriate materials, while learning experience is hands-on activity. Scaffolding and differentiate instruction. Assessment is formative assessment, portfolio and performance task. In life experience integration, philosophy focus on critical thinking and problem solving, while historical emphasis on unity and the reconciliation. Sociological prepare learner for community development. Psychological active learning tailored to developmental stage. Conclusion: curriculum development is influenced by philosophical, historical, sociological, and psychological foundation to shape the aim, content, learning experience, and assessment methods used in the education. Competence-based curriculum education promotes critical thinking, unit, social responsibility, and active learning. Therefore, all these foundations work together to create an effective and meaningful curriculum for learner and the society. Thank you for paying attention.
Good evening. Okay, I'm here by the name of Isaac Wimbawazi. I'm the member of Group 1. My question is to discuss to which the extent the phase of curriculum development along with the process of curriculum implementation and the evaluation work together to ensure effectiveness and the continuous improvement of education program. As my colleagues have said that curriculum is planned for teaching and learning that guide students and the teacher as well as the school. So, the effectiveness of education program depends on the interaction of curriculum development and its implementation and even the evaluation. Those three processes form continuous cycle that ensure education program remain relevant, effective, and responsive to the learner's needs. Curriculum development begins with identifying educational needs and setting a goal event objective. It is select and organize the content. Those are done by curriculum planners. I the one to select and organize content, choose teaching and assessment methods. Then this phase of curriculum development provides clear framework that guide that teaching and learning we have talked about above. Curriculum implementation. You are understanding the verb to implement. To put in practice, curriculum development. The implementation is the process of putting the planned curriculum. The above we have said curriculum development. For here is to put in practice what curriculum develops. And we are going on curriculum evaluation. Curriculum evaluation, its purpose is to measure if the objectives set in curriculum development have achieved. It identifies strength and weakness in curriculum. How to work together? We have said that curriculum development, implementation, and the evaluation are processes that are interconnected. How they work together? So curriculum development provides the plans, while curriculum implementation puts in practice what we have planned in curriculum development. For curriculum evaluation, measure success of objective achievement. And the result from that evaluation is the one to guide the improvement in curriculum development. So, continuous, we are going to proceed with the continuous development. The three processes we have talked above form continuous cycle that keeps the curriculum relevant, effective, and responds to the learner's need as we have said earlier. As conclusion, curriculum development, implementation, and evaluation are inseparable components. If one fails, the other is going to fail. Their collaboration ensures that education objectives are achieved, teaching and learning are improved, and continuous curriculum improvements take place to meet the changing needs of learner and the society. Thanks a lot.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Okay, I'm by the name of Pascal Nemukuni. I'm a member of Group 1. I am going to discuss about section number 7, which said that describe the processes and dynamics of curriculum implementation, including teacher preparedness, resource availability, learner characteristics, school environment, and stakeholder involvement. Interact to influence the effectiveness of curriculum delivery. First of all, we are going to see what curriculum implementation is. As my colleague has said, curriculum implementation is the process of putting the planned curriculum into practice through teaching and learning activities. Its effectiveness depends on how different factors interact within the school system. Among these factors, we can see teacher preparedness, availability of resources, learner characteristics, school environment, and stakeholder involvement. We are going to see how each factor influences that curriculum implementation. The first one is teacher preparedness. Teachers are the main implementers of the curriculum. Their knowledge, skills, experience, and attitudes greatly influence curriculum delivery. Below, there are the effects of teacher preparedness in curriculum delivery. The first one is that when trained teachers explain the content clearly, teachers who understand teaching methods engage engage learners effectively. Another one is that lack of training may lead to poor lesson delivery and misunderstanding of content. That means teachers need training just to deliver the lesson well. The second factor is resource availability. Teaching and learning resources support effective curriculum implementation. Example of those resources, they are textbooks, laboratories, computers, internet, teaching aids, and classroom. The effects of those resource availability in curriculum delivery are: adequate resources make learning practical and interesting. Lack of materials limits understanding and learner participation. Technology improves research and interactive learning. The third factor is learner characteristics. Learners differ in abilities, background, interest, motivation, and learning styles. So, learning characteristics can affect curriculum implementation or curriculum delivery because the motivated learners participate actively. Learners with different abilities require different teaching approaches. Language barrier or poor background knowledge may slow learning. The first one is school environment. The school environment includes physical, social, and emotional conditions within the school. The impact of school environment on curriculum implementation is safe and disciplined schools promote concentration. Good classrooms and sanitation improve learning comfort. Poor environment may reduce learner motivation and teacher effectiveness. The last one, or fifth one, is stakeholder involvement. Stakeholder include parents, government, school administrators, and community. So, stakeholder involvement can affect curriculum implementation in the following ways. Parents support learners academically and emotionally. Government provides policies, funding, and curriculum guidelines. Community involvement promotes educational support and accountability. So, in conclusion, effective curriculum delivery depends on successful interaction of the above factors, including teacher preparedness, resource availability, learner characteristics, school environment, and stakeholders involvement. When these factors work together positively, teaching and learning become more effective and educational goals are achieved successfully. When one factor is weak, curriculum delivery may be negatively affected, even if other factors are strong. Thank you for your attention.
Yes, and by the name of Sawatunde Zain, let us continue on question number 9. Using an relevant example, discuss how different types of curriculum design can be evaluated in terms of their relevance and effectiveness within one learner's educational context and what factor determine their suitability for a current curriculum practice. So, firstly, let us deal on evaluating types of curriculum design in one. Curriculum design generally fall into three broad categories. The first one is subject-centered, the second one is learner-centered, the last one is problem-learner competence-centered. So, let us start on the first one called subject-centered design. Simply, when you see this title, you realize that we are going to focus on subject. Means this design focus on subject. So the second one, learner-centered design. This design focus on learner. see what learner need and what learner are important to them, and this design illustrates how learner get it. So the third one, problem-centered or competence-based design. This design structure the curriculum around authentic real-world challenges, cross-cutting social issues and practical skills acquisition. So I think everybody know to differentiate those three types of curriculum design. The first one was subject-centered design. Second one was learner-centered design. The last one is problem-centered design. So let us continue on part 2 of the question 9. Was asked that factor determining suitable for a current practice. So the first factor is resources and infrastructure availability. A design is only good as the environment supporting it. It highly practical or learner-centered design require foundational science lab, reliable internet, computer, and manageable student-to-teacher ratios. Where those resources are missing, school naturally default back to rigid subject-centered lecture format just to cope. So the second factor, teacher capability and professional development. Teacher capability and professional development. The success of any curriculum depends on the person at the front of the chalkboard. Moving away from subject-centered design demands that teacher understand how to facilitate independent thought and create practical competence. So the third factor is assessment system. How you assess learner also is a factor. If curriculum tells a teacher to build critical thinking, but the final national exam only asks for definition, the teacher will teach to the exam. A major factor deciding a design suitable is how well it aligns with NESA assessment practice. Rwanda is currently trying to balance this by introducing tools like comprehensive assessment monitoring information system to capture continuous forming school data alongside the final summative grade. So this assessment monitoring information system, in abbreviation called the CAMIS, the importance or the role of that is to capture continuous or formative school data alongside final assessment grade. So the next factor is social, culture, context, and national values. The curriculum must mirror the society itself. The curriculum, as my colleague said before, curriculum, in preparing curriculum, you may focus on environment. So curriculum must mirror the society itself. In Rwanda, it means the design must actively accommodate linguistic transaction. It's designs that completely copy Western model without root in local community value face immediate reflection from above parent and teacher. So through preparing curriculum, you may also depend on environment and focus on how it influences society and the importance of curriculum to those people around the school. So thank you so much for your attention. I appreciate you all.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I'm the name of Fred Anandra Bezijayo. I'm one member in group 1. I have discussed the question number 10, which illustratively discuss how emerges 21 century trend as issue, influence curriculum development, implementation, and evaluation, and what implications do they have for improving educational practice. Introduction. Education in the 21st century is changing quickly because of new trends and issues in society. Those challenges affect how schools design their curriculum, how teachers teach, and how learning is assessed. Then let's discuss about how curriculum development. In the past, the curriculum focused mainly on memorizing facts. Then today, new trends such as technology, globalization, and sustainability require schools to design curriculum that build skills for real life. For example, students now learn digital literacy, problem solving, and teamwork. Curriculum implementation. How teachers deliver the curriculum has also changed. Instead of only using lecturing teacher, now we use interactive methods such as group project, equal-based learning, and digital tools. Technology allows blended learning where students can learn both in class and online. Teachers act more like guidance, help students discover knowledge rather than just giving it to them. This is make learning more active and engaging. Then, let's discuss about curriculum evaluation. Assessment has more moved beyond traditional exam. Now, school uses portfolio presentation and project to measure skills like creativity and collaboration. Data and digital tools also used to help students progress more effectively. Then, evaluation focuses on not only what students know, but it focuses on also what they can do with that knowledge. Then, how implication for educational practice. Those challenges have important reasons for improving education. First, school must train the teacher to use modern teaching methods and technology. Secondly, curricula should be flexible to adapt to the new challenge. Third, assessment should measure both knowledge and skills. As conclusion, the 21st century trends are reshaping education in Rwanda and across Africa. By developing modern curricula using interactive teaching methods and adapting fair and creativity assessment, school can prepare students to face global challenge. The goal is to create lifelong learning who can adapt, innovate, and contribute to their community and the wide world. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you for your big presentation.